Until now, the major concern in Nepal has been the humanitarian response and the slow pace of rebuilding, as hundreds of thousands of quake survivors remain in flimsy temporary shelters. But for historians, archaeologists, and even tourism promoters, there's another worry. The earthquake did extensive damage to Nepal's historic temples, structures anywhere from 200 to 1,400 years old.
The temples of Nepal are absolutely unique. They are inscribed in the World Heritage List. So you will find such a dense concentration of cultural heritage in almost no country of the world. It is an exceptional mix of religions. So many temples are Hindu and Buddhist at the same time.
Hinduism has deep and intersecting roots here with Buddhism, whose founder, Gautama Buddha, was born in what is today Nepal, some 2,600 years ago. Scholars say most Nepalese beliefs and practices are a fusion of the two ancient faiths. The rich cultural heritage is also a living one, says Christian Manhart of the United Nations Cultural Organization, UNESCO.
So it is not just beautiful monuments which are there for tourists, but they are used, all of them are used by the people of the country. So it's a very strong living culture.
And that adds more complication to the rebuilding efforts, a clash between Western and Eastern priorities and sensibilities.
We don't have romanticism with the historical patina. So this is, different way of looking to the monument as a Westerner eye and as the local people here.
Rohit Ranjitkar is with a non-profit organization called the Kathmandu Valley Preservation Trust. He says for most Nepalis, these historic sites are first and foremost places of active worship.
Basically, they have the attachment with the God and the place, the religious activities, not with the architecture. The site is important. For them, the temple will be rebuilt or not rebuilt. It does not make any difference.
Ranjitkar's group has been rebuilding temples for more than 2 decades, with funding mostly from private Western donors. The trust's work likely helped some structures withstand the quake, he says, and it moved swiftly after the temblor to salvage what it could of others that were destroyed.
So these are all the strut from the lost temple from the earthquake, so we all rescue from the rubble.
They are among thousands of icons, statues, and timbers now housed in makeshift storage until they can be restored to their original temples.
And this is one of the oldest section of the whole palace from 1627. We started actually renovating this building since 2008.
The temples and monuments were often part of royal palace complexes. It's here that the delicate balancing act between Western or international norms and local traditions and concerns comes into play.
So this is about 300 years old, and this is
last year.
Here, Ranjitkar explained the decision to repair weathered 300-year-old architectural elements with brand new work, going against the grain of many art historians who would have left the historic structure alone.
The people who can still do that, we need to promote them. If we don't do this, then this skill will be also lost.
He says one priority is to preserve the skills and artisanship handed down the generations over centuries, but disappearing in a modern world economy.
3 days.
3 days to make this.
Wow.
The craftsmen mainly come from lower socioeconomic classes or castes and have not enjoyed high social standing. Many have gone into other work, notably as laborers in oil-rich Gulf states. There's also a shortage of recorded information to guide a rebuilding that's faithful to the original temple design. Shukra Sagar Shrestha, a retired archaeologist, spends much of his time gathering old photographs, documents, and drawings to help the artisans. And he studies the ancient inscriptions and intricate carvings of these temple icons. This series, for example, is a kind of do's and don'ts, he says, a path to either heaven or hell in one's next life.
Because you gave your daughter to marry, but you accepted money.
So he has been put into a cauldron of boiling water because he accepted a dowry for his daughter.
Exactly.
The UN estimates it will take at least 10 years and about $200 million to restore all the icons and monuments in Nepal's heritage sites to their pre-earthquake location and condition. For this part of the rebuilding, Ranjitkar says he leans toward a more Western or international preference, repairing a lot of the woodwork instead of replacing it.
Saving as much as possible the historical element, not replacing the whole thing. The local people, they don't like it. They think like this is not good, this is not auspicious. In our religion, we don't worship the image which is broken or which is chipped out. So when you have some damage in the image, so people normally replace with a new one. They don't use the old one. For them, the image has to be complete.
So as the rebuilding gets into full swing, Ranjitkar says one of his main tasks will be to spend more time with priests and worshippers who prefer the shiny and new, trying to convince them of the virtue of the ancient artisanship and to consider another set of pilgrims to the temple, tourists. Their reverence is mainly for the historic architectural patina, and their dollars are a critical engine in the local economy. For Religion and Ethics News Weekly, this is Fred de Sam Lazaro in Kathmandu.